Okay. So first up, thank you to Dr. Bourget, the founder of Green Cloud, who's here with us tonight. For those who didn't hear or don't know, she is an amazing entrepreneur who started a women's scrub company, which she'll talk more about, and has been a generous donor to women in EM. So thank you. Dr. Kimberly Brown, also a member of AAEM, very involved, but an author, businesswoman, and business coach. So thank you for joining us. Dr. Nina Lum, who just joined the Zoom, thank you. I know that you had, I think, a clinical shift or something tonight, so we appreciate you joining us. She is the developer of the IMG Roadmap course and a physician coach. And then last but not least, our wonderful trio, Dr. Dinsmore, Kazir, and Dr. Morrison, who are the trio behind the whole physician, a physician coach, and also do other great things like podcasts, and also big supporters of women in EM. So thank you for joining us. Whoever wants to get started first.
What would you like us to do?
Why don't you guys get started?
Sure.
So we are 3 emergency medicine physicians who all at different stages of our careers experienced major burnout issues. And so we recovered from those, returned to clinical medicine, and learned many things that we felt like we needed to have learned in our training to help us thrive in medical practice, especially practice of emergency medicine. So we certified as coaches, and now we teach these tools and things that we really feel like we all need to know to be able to do well in emergency medicine, emotionally, physically, just to thrive. We teach those, and we coach doctors through their own burnout episodes, or really whatever they need help with. So Amanda and I were residency classmates at Wake Forest quite a while ago.
Yeah.
And she and Kendra work together in the same shop currently.
Yep.
Anyway.
In Springfield, Missouri.
So we love being able to help. And we coach a lot of EM docs, but we coach docs from all different specialties in these kind of issues. And we love it. It's very, very rewarding to help our colleagues feel better.
Our most favorite thing, though, is our podcast, where we just get to really engage with each other and talk about lots of things. But that's our funnest part, because we love doing our podcast and just having real authentic conversations that probably come up on your drive to or from your shift. And so that's how we like to relate them. So
we do.
I like the fact that there's 3 of you doing this together. I find that very admirable. I think amongst yourselves, you already have like a good support system, and then you're supporting other people. I just thought that was pretty cool when I saw your website when this came through.
Thank you so much.
We really do bring different strengths together, and I definitely couldn't do this by myself.
Yeah.
Ladies help.
Yeah, it's a lonely road.
Yes. And it does help with, because you need mindset changes if you're going to be an entrepreneur. So that it does help. When somebody's having a bad day, usually the other ones can be like, no, it's all fine.
Right.
Exactly how it's supposed to be.
Yeah. All right, I'll go next. So I'm Nina. I'm non-traditional in many ways. Non-traditional in EM, particularly because I'm family boarded and did a fellowship in EM. I am non-traditional in the sense that I was an IMG, went to Caribbean Medical School, and I'm also from Cameroon. So nice. I focus on helping other people who are like me, whether they are foreign nationals or Americans who attend foreign medical schools. I help them get into residency.
Great. I'm Lori. I'm a complete introvert, so speaking about myself is something I don't like to do. But I feel like we all know each other. If we're in emergency medicine as females, we get it. We get each other. We know the struggles. And first of all, I chose emergency medicine partly because I realized the system was going to kill me. It was going to chew me up and spit me out. So I was like, what can I do 10 days a month so that I can survive this and like enjoy it, but also maybe do something else in life. So I kind of, as I went through med school, realized like I can't do something, 6-7 days a week. So I went into emergency medicine. I love it. I still practice today. But from the very beginning, and I mean, I'm going back, I started residency in 2001 in the military. So I'm in the Army when 9/11 happens. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? I was the only female in my class. When I deployed to Baghdad, I was the only female doctor in a group of 40 plus physicians. And one thing that always bothered me were scrubs. I was like, these were made for men. They're so ugly. I want to be professional. I kind of want to like look good when I'm working and, represent myself. And I felt like I just didn't like scrubs. So it was always this idea, but I'm like, no, I'm a doctor. You can't, you can't make scrubs. And then over the years, the idea kept coming back, coming back. I tried making a few samples, but I don't know that much about the fashion industry. And then some other scrub companies came along and I was like, perfect. I'll just buy these, that they work, but I didn't love them. And so finally, I acted on this idea that I'd been carrying around for so many years. And now living in Miami, I was able to consult fashion designers, and they helped, source material, manufacturing, all the details that I really didn't know much of. I was able to work with consultants that had 20 plus years in the industry. So I had tons of guidance through the process. And we opened in the end of 2022. So 2021. So it's been like 2.5 years now. Yeah.
Well, congrats on a great few years and hopefully
Yeah.
many more.
Thank you.
Okay, last
I
but not
guess I
least.
go last.
Yes.
I guess it's me. I'm the only one left. It's so good to see Nina on this platform. Hey, Nina, we have not caught up in a long, long time, so it's good to see a familiar face. My name is Kimberly Brown. I am a member of the board of directors for AAEM, so I'm so happy to be here. I am also a locum tenens emergency physician, and I'm currently on assignment on a day off. And I am an entrepreneur that I did not know that that's what I was or that's what I wanted to be until honestly I met Nina. I don't know if she knows that. I definitely came into, well, I guess I'll just say I'm the founder and the CEO of two companies. One is Sherwood Properties that was named after my grandfather. It is a midterm rental business based in Memphis, Tennessee. And the first reason is why I founded that business was because of burnout. And I ended up just completely burnt out on the road as a locums doctor and wishing that I had a place to renew and restore myself if I couldn't control anything else around me, at least controlling where the place that I could stay, and wanting to deliver that same level of rest and restoration to other locums physicians or maybe travel nurses or anyone that was coming to Memphis. And so I founded that and in one full year, I grew that company to 6 figures. And along the way, doing my business and working non-clinically is really where I found a lot of peace, a lot of joy, and a lot of growth. And so I took that experience from growing a company from 0 to 6 figures and package that up into my business coaching program from side hustler to CEO. And so that program is really for doctors who are interested in starting their own non-clinical business as a coach or maybe a consultant and really going from idea to their first 5 figures in 90 days or less. So that's what I do now. I work with a ton of amazing people throughout the things that I do, but my clients more specifically are some powerful emergency physicians right now that are creating amazing things outside of the hospital. One of my clients is a life coach for other historically marginalized doctors, and really helping them build confidence and helping them to live authentically when their voices feel silenced. The other one is a financial wellness coach, helping other women physicians just like us feel free in their finances. She's a self-made millionaire, and she is teaching the steps to become a self-made millionaire for yourself. So the work that I do, quite like the ladies at the Whole Physician, have been so empowering to help other doctors channel maybe burnout, or channel maybe wondering even what's next for them, into a powerful business that they can use to build a legacy for their families, for their lives, for generations to come.
Amazing.
I love it.
Great. So thank you all for introducing yourselves, giving us a little bit of your background. For anyone who just joined, if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand or type it in the chat, and we'd love to answer them, get those answered for you. But it sounds like most of you guys have already answered this question, and it sounds like you all kind of started your businesses based off of problems that you saw in your own clinical practices or experiences that you went through. But how long, I would say, did it take to go from like starting that idea to materializing, and what steps needed to be taken? Any changes in your clinical practice? If anyone wants to
Sure,
start.
I'll start. I was going to say, I definitely didn't know that this is what I was going to be doing when I started off in the world of entrepreneurship. I didn't even have the word that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I knew that at the end of the day that I wanted to not be practicing medicine until I was 65 years old. And I probably had a solid 10 years of practice full time in me, if not maybe 7. But what I saw myself doing, I wasn't exactly sure. So I just tried a lot of different things. I tried and was not afraid to fail or to make a mistake, or just put myself out there. So I would say the first thing is, first of all, having faith or having belief that your idea can work, and just putting it out there and trying it to the best of your ability. It's in the actual action of it that's when you're learning to get along the way. So my first entrepreneurial foray started back in 2018. I had none of the experiences that I had until today, or until recently, where I had to go through burnout, where I had to kind of work on doing different things. And then it was from that life experience I was able to say, oh, this is what I'm going to do. So like I said, putting an idea out there, first of all, if you have something, believe in it. No one else is going to believe in it first, but you have to hold the belief in your idea first, and then having the courageous steps to actually putting it out there and seeing if it does. If it does not work, at least you learn something along the way, and that will set you up for the next step.
Yeah, I agree. Unfortunately, we talk about this a lot. Pain motivates a whole lot more than anything else. And I had been getting hives at work for a while, and just like, God, I don't know how much longer I can do this. And eventually had a series of so many strange things that happened in a row that I was like, I wonder if these are plagues, and the beatings are going to continue until morale improves. But anyway, like I had to get to such a bad place that then my brain was willing to accept, like, maybe I go off script and try something. And I actually ended up doing a fellowship in integrative medicine. I'm not really, I mean, I use the knowledge for my emergency medicine patients, but I'm not opening a brick and mortar or anything. It was the first time I went off script, because I went straight from high school to college to med school to residency to married to kids to then what the heck is my life come to? But I don't know, it was that first step, and like of just seeing something, but it took me to get to a really bad place to just start. And then once that happened, then it was like, okay, I didn't die. Go to the next thing, go to the next thing, go to the next thing. And then yeah, exactly. I didn't ever imagine this in the first place. But man, if you just start going somewhere, then you can figure it out. But for
Yeah.
sure, you're not going anywhere if you stay stuck.
No, and I would say emergency physicians are perfect entrepreneurs because we think outside the box, we're flexible, we are problem solvers, and we're not afraid to do stuff and mess up.
Rarely does somebody die in business. So there you go.
Can't be that bad, right?
No.
I agree with the ladies. I absolutely do. I think mine, in addition to pain, which you mentioned as a huge motivator, I think pressure also. Because for me, it wasn't so much, just like Kim said, like the idea of I want to be an entrepreneur. It was just events and circumstances that led me into that position. And for me, it was more so I'd been blogging for a few years about being a foreign national, being an international medical graduate. And it got to the point where I could only respond to so many emails. And and the questions were the same, exact questions each time. And I thought, okay, I need to figure out a way that I can put what I know in a place that will live forever and people can still get the benefit. And so I started out with a course and again, just laying out how it worked out for me, the things I needed to work on and kind of breaking them, like you said, being problem solver. Like we come up with a differential every single time. You can come up with how you're going to teach this new idea. And so that's how it happened for me. I did not need to have it done. I launched it. And while I was talking about it and teaching it, I was creating the actual what exists today as the course. So the first time I started it in 17. And the first time I ever recorded a course was last year. And that's because I was just at the point where, okay, now I know exactly what I'm saying and I'm going to record it formally. But it always just been ideas in my head. And with teaching, with coaching, it morphed into what the module should be. And then that branched into a podcast and, several other opportunities that'll come from there, including even being invited here. So I think for me, it was the pressure of needing to meet a need for others and then also for myself, because when I realized that this was something I could do and benefit from a gift of teaching and encouraging other people that I now see that I have, then it became, wow, well, you can monetize your gift. And that's the benefit of having a gift, I guess.
I just want to piggyback off of one thing you said, or what the kind of conversation is about, like the motivators. I think the next motivator, probably the third motivator, is vision. And not a lot of people talk about that. I think it takes sometimes getting to the valley or the absolute pit for you to appreciate the view at the mountaintop, but actually believing that there is a mountaintop for you and there's something better, especially when you are burnt out or if you are just wondering what's next for yourself, really allowing you to trust what you see in your own mind's eye and letting that be the driver of what you are now determined to do. That's honestly what got me going, is that I realized around about last year, before I started my business coaching program, that I was tired of seeing other doctors feeling like they were stuck outside of or stuck inside of this role of this doctor, that they felt like they couldn't release an identity. They wanted to kind of go back to who they were or something that they wanted to try or pursue before they went into medicine, but they just didn't do it. Something else, something outside of themselves that's not clinical medicine, and wanting to make sure that they felt like there was a pathway for that to be actually a realistic thing to go through. So that's part of the reason why I'm a business coach as well now, I guess too, but that's just another reason why I think so many people will pursue something, is that they know in their mind's eye that there's something that needs to be put out in the world and they just won't stop until it happens.
Yeah, I mean, I hope most women, especially in emergency medicine, are just so happy being emergency medicine physicians. But if you're here in this podcast wanting to hear a little bit more about being an entrepreneur, then you may also have that itch that you are thinking of doing something else. And I think it's very important to know that we are so much more than medicine. because that held me back for a long time. I thought, well, no, you're a doctor, you're busy, you know, this is what you know. You don't know anything in the fashion industry. You didn't study that. What do you think you're doing in that arena? And then the other thing is the money, you know, right? Like it's very hard to beat walking into work with really all you need is a pen and a stethoscope and getting paid this much an hour. You know, when you start looking at an alternative career, it's going to be very hard to make that much up front. And so you feel like you almost sold your soul to medicine and you're stuck there because you just make good money. And so just keep doing that. But if you feel like, you know, I really want to do something else. I mean, this idea stuck with me for like 20 years. And I finally was like, okay, let's give it a try. I didn't tell anyone. You know, I met with designers. I made my first prototypes. I didn't tell anyone because I was like, I probably will be the only one wearing these. It'll probably never go beyond that. And then I kind of liked them. And then, you know, I wanted to wear them to work, and I actually got kind of excited to go to work. So by creating my itch and making it a reality, it actually makes medicine more fun. So when you're really living your true values and doing what you love, your whole life kind of brightens up a little bit.
Oh, a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
A whole lot.
Yeah. And I think in tapping into, and I think everyone here that's a panelist would agree with this, we all have like other talents outside of medicine. And I don't think we get enough time to even think about them or invest in them while in medical school or even in residency training. But I would encourage everyone to just think about the things that you get complimented about often, or the things that draw people to you. That is a gift that you have that maybe the person down the street doesn't get as easily as you do. So whether it's being a podcaster and helping people with wellness, there's still a gift there that is unique to that person. Or starting a fashion business, even without a fashion background, but having the interest in that fashion, or being a business coach by experience and just growing your own real estate company. I think in all of that, if we lean into some of those thoughts and not allow what we think we should be define who we are and look at ourselves as multifaceted people, then you find that if I'm sure everyone on this call probably has that itch is why you're signing up for this webinar or sitting in the room. So let that just be there. And even if you have, like for me and so many other business people may not agree, but you start just doing it at no cost if you can, and let it blossom into what it's going to blossom. I never planned to start a business. That is the truth. It was never an idea to start a business. I started a blog and things kind of evolved. So just be open to the possibility, I think is my best recommendation.
And we're so lucky because we have the kind of job where a lot of people that are starting a new business do not have the luxury of just picking up an extra shift to fund their dream. And I just found that liberating. It's a gift that we have, that we can do this as easily as we can.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work too. I'm not saying that, but I don't wait till you're in the pit of despair. Just that's not necessary. That was my story. I do not recommend that.
And I would
I want
also
to ask a question to the panelists, actually. What are some challenges that you encountered with starting? Because starting is, I think, 90% of the problem. What are some challenges you encountered with starting?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question because that's exactly what I was going to hit on. I think we work with quite a few clients with this all or none thinking, this maladaptive high achiever that we call perfectionism. And I think we go into something like this, and I'm sure, whoever's on the webinar who will listen to this in the future, like, but I don't know how, and I have to have every step planned out, and I have to have A to Z before I can even start. And I would just encourage you, just like these lovely ladies have said, you have an idea, you have something that you feel like could scratch an itch, just start. Like, you don't have to have the A to Z. We learned so much along the way. But the good news is, being ER docs, we don't know whatever is going to walk into our doors. That's what equips us so beautifully. Staying resilient and starting a business is because we do this every day. Anything at any time could walk through our doors, and we have to be prepared for it. So I feel like it gives us kind of a one up. And even, being in this arena with other entrepreneurs, because we're like, bring it on. Like we said, no one's dying. So like, we feel like we can handle anything. But I think the biggest thing is just that not feeling enough, or not feeling like we have it all up here, step by step, know exactly how, when we go into a resuscitation, yeah, we are always staying 2 steps ahead, and we do know the next thing. But don't let that stop you from going here. We love challenges. We thrive on challenges. We want a good, resuscitation or a good something. This is just like this. You'll figure it out along the way. You know how to learn because you were in med school, and we went into residency, and we learn every day as an attending. So you know how to learn. You're a student for life. And this just happens to be like something fun, and like something that is going to increase that creativity and challenge you in a way that you never thought. And I think that's the reciprocity that this whole process brings. Just like Lori, you said,
100%.
it's fun to go back to work. Yes, we can work on all the coaching principles and everything. But when I go back to work, I'm like, heck yeah, I'm an ER doc, but I also have a side hustle. I'm a businesswoman, I'm a whatever. And just even the day after day one, Monday, day one, you are an entrepreneur. You say that. You have the
Yes.
idea, you start Monday, day one, you are an entrepreneur. Let's go. So you say that, and then you go for it. That's all you got to know, really.
Yeah.
I wanted to piggyback
Word.
off of what you just said. I think for me, the word start is like, what does that even mean? Because that can mean different things depending on what you want to do. So starting my, Sherwood business, Sherwood properties business, my real estate business looked much different than starting as a business coach. So, but it's similar in the fact that there's one thing that you do need to invest in. Number one is what you just double tapped on, is the mindset of being scrappy, starting lean, meaning launching things from a Google Doc. I launched my business coaching business from a Google document, just an idea and a Google document, and let's go. And I signed my first client in a week, just because I invested in my mindset first, saying that I knew that I believed that I could help somebody else, and letting my vision drive that. So that was the way I started, is really catching my mindset, getting that together, and then building my idea from there, marketing it, and then selling it. Those are the actual steps that I would say that it took to start my business. But the first thing, the most important thing, the 80% of it all, is what is going on in this right here. If you don't start saying that you're an entrepreneur, that you can help somebody, that I deserve to earn money outside of the hospital, that I am a good coach, that I can help another IMG get into residency. If you don't start speaking those things into existence first, then the starting has already stopped. Like, you're just stuck right there. It has to start with your mind and how you're speaking to yourself.
Yeah, why
Yeah.
not? There's a whole lot of people that are far less scrappy and resilient and clever that have businesses, no?
Yeah.
And making a whole
Absolutely.
lot of money doing it. Yes.
Right. Yeah. And I think in addition to that, like for those, there's gonna be some of us who are like, yeah, I get it, but I'm not a natural optimist. Like, I'm more of a pessimist, right? Some of us may lean more in that direction. Perfectly fine. Um, in addition to belief and mindset, when you don't have that, take action.
Yeah.
because even when I don't believe it, I've just noticed now, I just do it. Do it afraid, do it scared, do it shy, do it whatever. Got the saddlebags, the pit stains, you're sweating, just do it. Just do
Yeah,
it. Just like you run
just
into
do
a
it.
code and you're like, I don't know what happened here. This trauma is like 3 of them at one time. You just do it. So I think mindset is great. That's really foundational for me as well. But on days where I don't have the capability to even read my own affirmations, I'll just do it. Just do something.
Yeah, and trust in your gut instinct. That same gut instinct we use every day when we walk into patients' rooms. You're going to use that when you're making business decisions. Does this feel
Yeah.
right? Is this true to me? Is this what I want to do? And you know, we've developed that very well through medicine. And
Mhm.
I've gotten into trouble when I don't listen to my gut and I listen to other people telling me what to do because maybe they have more experience in the fashion industry. But you know, at the end of the day, I know scrubs very well. So it, you know, so it's don't forget to learn to really trust yourself and use that gut instinct.
I think intuition isn't talked about enough.
Mhm.
One of my favorite CEOs, entrepreneurs is Steve Jobs in so many different ways. Him and I are very similar people, probably because he's a Pisces and so am I. And so, and he got his liver transplant at the same hospital that I trained in. So that's maybe another weird connection.
Yep.
And I'm an Apple freak. But I say all that to say I read an article about him, and he was specifically talking about how he launched so many of the pivotal products that we have right now because of him listening to his own intuition and listening to the voice inside of his head that's saying, no, this is what's going to work. No, I need to do this. In the sea of all of these different, oh, do this, do that. Like, no, I know what this is going to be. So I'm going to follow that. So I love that you double tapped on that, Lori, is really having that self-trust and doing that, having that self-trust when you're in action as well, too, that trusting that you know what you are doing, the steps that you are taking are the right ones. You have to just listen to yourself and just know that you know what you're doing at your core.
Yep. Yep. Agree.
I'd
And
just like to add something that kind of might have been surprising, I don't know, to a lot of entrepreneurs when they start. When we choose to be an entrepreneur, we're also choosing to learn how to be a marketer, which was not, that was not
Not natural.
not like what we
Yep.
want. We wanted to help other doctors, right? That wasn't the marketing part, wasn't what
Yep.
we were signing up for. But you do. That is something that you're signing up for as an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
So don't be surprised by that. And it's just another set of skills that you can acquire, just like all the other sets of skills you've acquired so far.
And you also have to sign up to be a salesperson.
Yep.
And nobody
Yep.
wants to talk about that either because you
Mm-mm.
don't make money as an entrepreneur unless you sell.
They're selling.
And so, yes, that's something else that no one talks about, that the skill investment that you need to take, but it happens in the action. It happens in the doing. It's not something that you need to go get a certification for, and that's not something that you need to go get an MBA for. It is literally learning that as you're doing it as an entrepreneur. So yeah, 100% sales and marketing.
And I think also in line with sales, marketing, and getting comfortable along those lines. I think for a physician, I can speak for myself. I don't want to assume, but I think we're naturally altruistic people. And so we're never thinking about profit. At least we're never focused on it. Like that's not the focus. We don't go to work because, at least when we started out, it was never because we were going to get a paycheck. It was passion. Um, and so when it comes to entrepreneurship, a challenge that I encountered, which I've had to do a lot of work around, is accepting that I have to make profit and it is okay to make profit and it's okay to be friends with money. And it's a fine line between kind of feeling like I'm deviating from that altruistic part of me to where I have a product, I have a service, and I'm going to sell it. Yes, I may give it away for free if I choose to, but that's on my own volition. And kind of reconciling, I want to do good with, I want to do good, and I also want to make money, and that's okay, has been sort of the biggest challenge that I've had to deal with as an entrepreneur, because there's always there's always that, inner voice in a person that reminds me of why I became a doctor. But I'm not quitting medicine. I'm still being a doctor. But I also love the idea of taking nothing, making something, and putting it on the market. And that in itself is an art. And it shouldn't have anything to do with whether you're a good person or a bad person for doing that, if you've ever struggled with that, because those are things that I've struggled with, so I can talk about it. But I think it's important to realize, if we can normalize the idea of money, then maybe we can be more open to how much our businesses can grow. And having that simple shift has really helped me exponentially double my profits,
Yes.
in a very
Mhm.
ethical way, in a
Yep.
very, without necessarily working more. And so I think that that's another part of it that I only experienced it because I've been in it. It's not something you start off thinking about. But I think if I had a different mindset around money in general,
Mhm.
I would have maybe grown a lot faster. And I still have a lot of growing to do, but I feel like coming into this mindset is helping me grow faster, as I can see.
Yeah.
I'm
I
so
want to,
glad you double tapped on that. I'm sorry.
yeah.
I was going to say, when you said making money and money mindset, that made me think of a book that I've read very recently, and I recommend to my clients to read as well too. And it's You Are a Badass at Making Money. It's the
Mhm.
same author that wrote You Are a Badass, but specifically, she's also a financial coach as well too. And she talks about money mindset and really changing, like Nina was saying, the way you think about money, releasing limiting beliefs that you may have, like, oh, well, I'm a doctor, I can only make, as an emergency physician, I only make this much money per year, and da 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 da. Like, no, expanding your thoughts about what you can do and what you can have and receive and be able to manage. And it doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you evil because you want to be rich, you want to live a wealthy life. It's just about the stories that we are telling about our money. But like you said,
Hmm.
I didn't know about any of that until I was in the thick of it, in the business of it all. Like, oh, I'm realizing that I'm blocking myself because I'm thinking that I can charge this much or this much, and I'm putting myself in my own container that I don't want to be in anymore. So,
Please,
yeah.
please, women, do not give away your time for free. Not everybody in the world does that, but we tend to be socialized to do that. And on behalf
Hmm.
of all the other women in the
Speak on
world,
it.
we have to stop doing that. Number two, when women are rich, they do wonderful things with their money. So
Yes, we
can we
do.
please have many, many, many more rich women? I think that the world would be a much better place if we had
Hmm.
women bazillionaires who were able to influence change. I just think that the world would look in a much more wonderful place. So
I love this conversation. All this great wisdom, just hearing just like straight talk about all the great things that you guys are doing and your experiences. I know we kind of touched on it a little bit, a couple of you guys have mentioned, but any other challenges that you didn't anticipate? Was it, just sending that email one day and starting it, or was it, it sounds like maybe the marketing and sales is a, can be difficult. So any,
It's
Oh,
everything. It's going to be challenging, but exciting and
Hmm.
rewarding and horrible and fun. I mean, it's such a mix of emotions, but you're driving this train. And I mean, it's so rewarding. I mean, still, when I am doing orders, I'm like, I'm dressing this doctor. Like, I'll sometimes if I have time, I'll look up, who ordered and what they do. And I mean, I've met the most incredible women, and I was lonely through residency. I was lonely in the army. Like, I love like that there are so many women, not just in emergency medicine, in every field, like we get each other and they're all struggling. I mean, you think dermatologists, every field is struggling with the system because it wasn't built with us in mind. Not one bit of it, not the residency training, not the entire structure. Is it broken? Maybe, but it just wasn't built right.
Yes.
And we're here, we know we're badasses, right? Every study that's been coming out showing we're better in surgery, we're decreased readmission rates, patient satisfaction. Like, we belong here, we need to be here. I don't want one female physician to retire one day early. I mean, cut back, but like try not to leave because we're so desperately needed. But yeah, so I don't even know how I got to this point, but it's all challenging. But we're good with challenges. That's just like what we're used to, and so we thrive a little bit on the challenge.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's such a lonely road, and we were talking about that, I think, before we originally started. But I found that I didn't know that I needed a community. It takes a village to raise a child. That's what the African proverb says. It takes a village to be a person. It takes a village to definitely be an entrepreneur and to be a businesswoman. And I think especially if that is what you're transitioning into, if that's not your natural way of being, or if that's not what you wanted to do, you don't know that that's what you're going to be going down that path. And you know that you do need to have a community of people along the way. You need to have other entrepreneurial friends that you can talk to and say, girl, I just had a launch and it didn't go well. What do I need to do? Or celebrate or anything with. Like, that is something that I think that is not double tapped on enough. And I would say the reason why I collaborated with Nina for our book that we wrote together, Still MD, is because I saw her as community. I'm an IMG, she's an IMG. We had similar experiences, but different because she is not a US citizen and I am, but I found a way to synergize with her and build on her community, connect with her community, and help and share those things along the way. So really knowing that, like I said, it's not ever in competition with anyone else. It's always in collaboration with and seeking out the community of other entrepreneurs that are doing similar or even maybe completely different things than you, but can connect with you along the way and can relate and help you as well too.
Yeah, I
Last thing
agree.
I'll
I
say.
agree
Oh, go ahead.
100%. No, I was gonna say I agree 100% with community because you learn from one another too. I remember I would learn from you and it was just like an exchange of information and what you find out there. So yeah, definitely support that message.
I'd also say the last thing, and I'm gonna stop running my mouth. I feel like I've been talking this whole webinar. But investing in guidance, because yes, just start. Yes, just do all of the things that we're saying, but you don't have to go about it alone. Like, that's why there are coaches that help with that. Coaching, I feel like, is something that's getting a new name into the healthcare space. Physicians are now becoming coaches at a greater rate in all different types of fields, whether it's wellness or life or something completely outside of medicine whatsoever. But really understanding that at this point in our careers, we didn't invest it. How are we going to invest? I'm not paying for not another degree. If you need the help and if you need the guidance and if you don't want to have to go through the long 2-year process of the book learning, you want to get into action, investing in a coach is the best way to do that. Investing in someone to guide you, to mentor you, is the best way to really go about it in a way where you can have sometimes a built-in community as well too. So there's so many different ways that you can go about a business, but having someone to lead you and guide you, like I said, that guidance up front is the best thing. Someone said that, the scariest thing about starting a business is starting it. And that's why no one usually ever starts their business. So having a mentor or a guide and or a coach to help you along that path that has done that already is always a powerful way to do that. I hired a coach when I started Sherwood Properties. I hired a business coach when I started my business coaching. I hired 2 business coaches to help me. And I got certified to be a business coach only because I wanted to make sure that I had the guidance and the support that I needed in order to go along the way.
Yeah, concur. We are actually at a business conference right now, and it will save us years and loads of mistakes that would have happened without it. So yes, thank you for being for people. It's out there, and it is worth the time to that people have already done this or done something similar at least, and you can just take what they've already done.
Yeah.
Save you.
Can I just add to that? No matter what you're creating as your business idea, it can be the most amazing thing, and you know everyone needs it. You're going to build it and think they're going to come. And that, if that does not happen, if it happens for you, that would be fantastic. I'll be so happy for you. It probably won't. And that's okay. And just keep going. It is all figure outable. And over time, you will find success. Don't give up. If it's one of those things that your intuition is telling you this is needed, I've got to do this, just stick with it. And then like hire a business coach if you're feeling like quitting or you need some support or something to help get you unstuck. But don't expect you to create something amazing and then suddenly people are going to flock to it, because it doesn't usually work like that.
You're gonna have to tell people about it. You're gonna have to sell it. You're gonna have to get over yourself. Nobody likes to do that. That's not why we medicine. I've never had to beg for a patient in my life. The other thing is I've never had to market to a patient. You do this and you die. You do this and you live. Like it's your choice. Like, but with marketing, you have to speak in a different way and you have to touch into emotion and all of these things that I had no clue about. But it's out there. Yes, it's learnable. Of course, it's not as hard as med school for sure.
No.
And no one dies.
The best part about it. Okay, so we're about to wrap up. For anyone who's on the Zoom and has some questions, feel free to raise your hand or turn on your screen or type it in the chat. But as we're finishing up, thank you guys for all this wisdom that you've imparted and for this just wonderful conversation. Just listening to you guys all kind of like flourish amongst each other is just like, it's actually really incredible to just sit back and listen to everything you guys are saying. So maybe one last pearl or anything that you wanted to add and didn't have a chance to say before we finish up.
I would say that there is nothing better than entrepreneurship to take you into old age. Like it's so much new learning, so much challenge, so much to keep your brain active as you continue to practice emergency medicine or as you transition out. Like it is incredible for your personal development. It's so good for you.
Like literally in integrative medicine fellowship, they said one of the things that they think is the most beneficial to stave off Alzheimer's is learning new things on the computer. And I'm telling you, I can feel my brain like just catching on fire with some of these things I'm having to learn with business, but it's good for me, right?
Yeah, and I'll just close with Danielle, I'm super glad that you brought that out. Like just hearing the camaraderie with all of these fine, lovely EM physicians. Just know we are a community, we are a family. So we believe in you. If you're sitting there like, gosh, I have this idea, I don't know where to start. I mean, we've given you pointers, but just know you have a whole gang of us behind you. You can do this. You dream it, you believe it, you take action, all that. Know that every single one of us are going to be your biggest cheering session. We're behind you, we're for you. You can do this.
Yeah.
Come to Miami next year for AAM.
Oh, we will. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm almost sensing that there may be a small interest group in entrepreneurship forming, especially probably with the locum tenens section. We have been talking about entrepreneurship stuff, so maybe something like that can be sparked if that's an interest of AAM members. I love that we as emergency physicians are, like we said, embracing entrepreneurship, and we are natural entrepreneurs. We have the best time, the best space. We've got the money, we've got the mindset already from the just figuring it out and just kind of just learning on the fly. We have so many different assets that we naturally bring to the table. And then on top of that, all of us are women, which is the icing on the cake, that we are naturally good at, I would argue, sales, marketing, sharing, tapping into emotions. And so that makes us the natural entrepreneurs as well, and providers and money generators in our homes and for our families a lot of times as well too. So forgetting or not forgetting that we have so many natural capabilities as women in emergency medicine in two different aspects makes us even doubly powerful. And I'll double tap on or triple tap on my natural superpower. I'm a Black woman, so I'm really, really dope at everything that I do. Black women are at the top of every field right now and are becoming entrepreneurs at an extraordinary rate. So I know that my experience as a Black woman even makes me even better and makes me put myself out there even more. So naturally remembering who you are, even as you look at yourself in the mirror, and knowing that you have something to offer in this world just as you are right now today is so powerful. So I want to just, if anyone is interested in being an entrepreneur, remember that as well too.
You can do it.
Okay. Thank you all for your words of wisdom, your advice, your stories. It was truly inspiring and really exciting to hear about all this that's going on in the background of your clinical work and the huge accomplishments you've all made in your different areas of expertise. We look forward to meeting you, Lori, in next year at Scientific Assembly. So thank you all for taking your time to talk with us, and I hope that everyone has a great evening.
Thanks so much for having
Thank
us.
you.
Yes,
It's an
thank
honor.
you. Bye-bye.
Have a good night.
Night.